Welcome to Through the Mirror. I'm your host, Tracy Wallach, and today I have some amazing guests with me. They're actually called associates in our company, JM Family, and we're going to talk about uncharted territory, women who moved from one state to come here to Florida. And I've got some great women, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and have them introduce themselves. So Megan, let's go ahead and get started with you.
Alrighty, let's do it. Hi there, my name's Megan Champion. I moved here from Birmingham, Alabama a little over 8 years ago.
Nice. Sierra?
Hi, my name is Sierra Geyer, and I am 27 years old. I moved here from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
And Sierra, you moved here how long ago?
I think I'm going on 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Yeah, so very new.
Fantastic. All right. And Molly.
Hi, I am Molly Wilson. I moved here from Dallas, Texas, just shy of about 2 years ago. Crazy.
Okay. And Molly, you're from Florida originally?
From Florida originally, Tallahassee.
Okay, Tallahassee. So never been down to Deerfield
Never
Beach.
in South Florida.
Okay, great. So different areas. We're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start actually with you, Megan. Just to brief the audience a little bit, each one of these ladies have different family, if you will. Like Megan she came down here with her husband and 2 children, Molly with her husband, and Sierra came down on her own, looking to find love. Just putting it out there. Very single,
She's
ladies and
very
gentlemen.
cute, so.
Very sweet, very kind, wonderful to work with. So I'm just putting it out there. And you know how to reach me through the mirror24@gmail.com. In the event you want to meet Sierra, you will be vetted by Molly, Tracy, and Megan, so just beware. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Megan, can you describe some of the logistical challenges you faced in moving with young children?
You know, I was actually very blessed because my children were younger. So my oldest was about 6.5, and my youngest was 2.5. So I think moving with them was definitely much easier than if I was moving with teenagers that had really established like some serious friendships and all the dynamics of middle school and high school and so they were very easy to move. I will say, you know, when I got all of them down here, it was looking at where we were going to move. Obviously, we were looking hard at the school systems and the neighborhoods, and we did move into an area that had a lot of kids, which was awesome. It kind of threw me back into like old school life. Like I literally had kids come knock on my door.
Yes.
Oh, I
Like,
love it.
can Jeannie come out and play? And that
You don't
doesn't
see
really
it
happen
anymore.
much
No.
anymore. And it happened in this neighborhood, and it was really, really great.
Wow. But you didn't start off in your neighborhood, right? When you came down to Florida, did you move right into your neighborhood? Did you take some time?
No, so I moved into a company condo first, and I only brought down my youngest with me. And my mom came down with me as well to watch her while I worked. And then my now ex-husband, he was with our oldest and, you know, trying to finalize things back up in Alabama.
Okay. Okay. Let's go with you, Molly. What was the most difficult part of the moving process for the two of you?
Oh, moving just sucks. Let's be honest. Like moving sucks. Even if you're so excited to do it, it just sucks. So I think what was really difficult for me specifically, my husband was born and raised in Dallas essentially, so he was kind of ready for a change. But we had bought a house that I had completely redone, and I was in love with it.
Up in Texas?
In Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had like poured multiple hours and lots of money into this house.
So did you do that knowing you were going to sell it, or did you do it
No.
and then all of a sudden you went online, saw the company, and said, "Oh my God, I'm going to JM Family"?
Yeah,
What was
well, that's a very nice way to put it. I got laid off.
Okay. Okay.
But you know, such is life in corporate America.
Happens for a
So
reason.
I got laid off. We bought that house and I renovated it with every intention of being there 5 to 7 years. It was small, so I knew that we weren't going to raise like a huge family there. But I was like, we could have one, maybe two little ones. And then again, like I said, got laid off in May of 23 and started looking for new opportunities and insanely somehow landed here, which I'm so grateful for. But I think just leaving that, knowing I had put so much work into something that I loved so much,
Right.
was very difficult for us. For me specifically, my husband was not that attached to the house. I was like, I can't believe we're leaving this.
Oh God.
I
Yeah.
know.
It's emotional.
It's very emotional because I honestly thought that we would raise kids in that house.
Right.
So that was hard. And then, like, just the logistics of moving suck. We had to pack up said 3-bedroom house, and that just sucked. So I think those, like, the twofold, the logistical hardships that you have of, like, selling all your things or packing them all up, and then also the emotion behind packing a house that you thought you would be in long term.
Right. And you know, you're not just the two of you. You had your fur baby,
Oh,
Bert.
my child.
Your
Yes.
child, your fur child.
My fur child.
What was it like for Bert? I mean, with all this moving, I can't imagine that it wasn't stressful for him as well.
Honestly, yeah, he's pretty resilient. He's a very cute sheepadoodle. If you also want to see pictures of that, contact Tracy.
you, you will. I'm in love with Bert. I keep asking, or actually, I keep begging Molly to allow me to watch Bert, but she doesn't want to. And I think because
I
my-
like you.
Yeah, well, and my corgi tends to be a little witchy, and she's very. She wasn't so nice to Bert, but Bert was so cute and just allowed her to be
Yeah.
her.
He's pretty, like I said, he's pretty resilient. So like the thing that we have discovered though, he hated the car before he moved to Florida. Hated the car. And then we did 2 12-hour days back to back to get from Texas down to Florida. And I was like, you know what? Okay, he can do this. And he's adapted. And now we drive all the time with him. We put him in the backseat of the car in 7 hours up to Tallahassee, and he's just fine.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool. All right, Sierra, we're going to move to you. And you have a little bit of a different background because you came, well, I remember, okay, first of all, we get a little background on Sierra because this was so much fun with you. So before you decided to come for your job, you came to meet all of us or whoever was there that day.
I think it was just me from
Yeah.
this group, right?
Yes, I think so.
No,
Tracy was there.
I was there.
Yeah.
Megan,
I was there.
You were
Oh.
there as well?
It was the three
No,
of us.
No, I
you
wasn't
you
there.
Were,
No.
Where were you? Up
No.
in Vale, I think, right?
Okay.
She was
You ditched
somewhere.
me for Vale? Really?
She ditched you for Val. Although I'll tell you what, it was kind of cute because Molly here was the tour director for Sierra, walking us around
Yes.
everything
knew?
JM family. Right.
Yes, the TCUV site visit.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's where
Yep.
you were.
Who knew?
No, who knew is right. And so Sierra, with you, it's a little bit different, right? Because it's not that you have, oh, I'm moving my whole family or I'm moving a boyfriend or even a fur baby at that point. It's you are moving yourself across. I'd like to say across country, but we're not across. We were saying like down country,
country.
low country, whatever we want to say Florida
Whatever the
is.
words are, yeah.
So what was that experience for you? Also, I mean, anxiety ridden. What? Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Tracy. I did move alone. But I think there's challenges, right, to moving alone because I only have to worry about myself and my thoughts and feelings and emotions about it. I don't have to consider anybody else. But I think at the same time, then that's also challenging because when you move alone, right? I'm so blessed with amazing family and friends that I really relied on heavily during the move. But that being said, you don't have anybody who understands exactly what you're going through.
Right.
And it's essentially all on your shoulders too.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing in all of it was honestly just the decision fatigue.
Right.
Because like Molly said, the logistics are just so annoying when you are moving like 2 hours across the country. I don't care. Like they're just
Worst.
the worst. You're like, how do I get my life like to this new place? So the decision fatigue is really hard, right? Because there's like for me, I had been in Michigan for 10 years and it was emotional for me to move. And I made a lot of decisions really quickly. So, everything from big decisions of, hey, am I even going to take this job to okay, like now when am I gonna move? How am I gonna
Right.
move? Like, am I gonna get a U-Haul? Am I gonna sell my stuff? How do I get out of my lease?
Right. A lot of
So
decisions.
just so many decisions. And then it doesn't stop, right? So then yes, like I moved here, but now I'm like in the phase of decorating my apartment. And of course, like I overthink
Finding
every
your
decision. I'm
apartment.
like, do I want pinks or blues here? You know? So yeah, I just think the decision fatigue is hard. And I think when you move with someone, you share that load with them.
Correct. Well, and that's what I was going to say with you. It makes it so different, ladies. Obviously, when you have somebody to lean on through that experience, even though you're stressed and you do have that decision fatigue, I don't feel that it would be as great as when you're on your own. And I don't mean to keep like pegging you're on your own because you're
Yeah.
not. You weren't on your own. I mean, you had your family here that
Yep.
lives in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
but it's at nighttime when you're sitting there lying in bed saying, "Oh my God, am I doing this?" And I would just think because I haven't left the company in 25 years, so I can't even remember that long ago. But I think what I would probably feel more than anything is, am I making the right decision? I'm up and leaving my
Totally.
friends, everything, and I don't have somebody else to lean on here. Am I making the right decision? Is that something that you went through or
Oh
felt?
my gosh. Yeah, totally. And I think there are still times when you think like, did I make the right decision? 8 weeks in,
Totally.
you're like, whoa, like this is huge. Like I can't believe I'm in Florida. And I never would have thought that I would be back, like moved to South Florida. Um, but I think, with any decision in life, it's never going to be a perfect decision.
Right.
And you just have to accept that and recognize that, and then also like honor your feelings when you do have those times when you miss like maybe old friends or
For sure.
your old job, and realize, hey, like that's valid, but it doesn't mean that I made the wrong decision.
Correct. So I want to take a second and I want to toast you ladies because you all made a bold decision to pick up your life, pack it up, and
Woohoo.
move to JM Family. And I, for one, am grateful for each of you for doing so. So cheers to you
I'm
ladies.
grateful for all of you too.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Cheers, cheers,
grateful.
cheers. And Megs, we're not getting that far. So let's just do bottoms up.
I do want to circle back though to when you were talking about moving with a partner or someone versus moving without. It can be better, yes, but it could also be more strenuous at the same time. It all
Correct.
depends on that relationship and that communication and that bond that you have with that person. Um, because it can definitely make it more stressful if you're not aligned in like your goals and your visions and what you want for the future and
Yes.
where you're wanting to move. And I mean, just a plethora of things.
You know, I love that.
Totally.
I love that you brought that up because even when you think back to the pandemic, one of I can't even remember what podcast episode it was. I said that the pandemic gave you one of a few things. You either got married, got divorced, or had a baby. And-
I'm like,
but really, I mean, there might be many other things that happen in between. I don't know. But I'm just saying, much like a move, I would think if you have a strong foundation, like anything else, if you have strong roots and a strong foundation, obviously it's going to be a lot easier. You're aligned. You both understand that move. And to your point, Megan, if there's any bit of a shaky foundation, to sit there and that foundation shaky and then you want to pick up and move, yeah, it can have a
it's
detrimental effect, right?
stress, right?
Yes.
Like anything that puts pressure or stress on a relationship is going to show you what that relationship is at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
Amen.
And like, I don't know if you felt this, maybe I'm not a mom, so I don't know, but like the guilt I had a little bit of making my husband move away from his entire family, picking up for me and moving across, like his whole family is in Dallas, not even like close, like they're in Dallas. And I'm like, hey, by the way, I got this opportunity and we have to now rearrange our entire life around me, you know?
So can we, and if you don't want to, it's
No,
fine. Can we
yeah.
dive deep a little bit into
Sure.
that? And for the listeners especially, because there may be somebody out there right now, and one of you may be deciding, hey, I want to move or not move. And it can very well depend upon your spouse, your significant other, or even a boyfriend that you may have been considering a future for. And like I would say in each one of your ladies, from what I'm hearing, it wasn't like you turned around and said, oh, I am going to look for a job outside of the state. It happened.
Yes.
It fell upon you. Or maybe, Megan, you're kind of, did you?
So I'm the opposite of Molly.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And then we'll dive deep, Molly.
Sure,
But
no
let's go with
worries.
you on that one.
so my ex had family in South Florida
Okay.
and wanted to move down here. And my ties, aside from my father, my grandmother, who I took care of had passed away.
Mm.
The job I had for many years, the company sold, so I was with a new company. So my loyalties were stripped,
Okay.
really. And
Yeah.
I'm a very loyal person.
Yes.
So he had been wanting to move down, and he had knew about this job and had seen this job. And so then when all that happened, he was like, "You should apply. It's your dream job." I'm like, "Well, now, yeah.
Now it kind of felt like a good time.
I can,
Yeah.
now I'm willing to venture down that path." But so I was the one that really left.
Yes, you
Yeah.
left everything, but
And now my dad's here with me.
Correct.
I moved him in because I'm earning my feathers.
You are. You definitely are.
anytime you move a family member in, you're earning your feathers, and that's going to be one of the next podcasts talking about aging parents and at what point in your life you do move them in. But and that'll be a deeper look through the mirror on that, folks. But let's go back really quick. So with you and Bryant.
Yeah.
Bryant
Yes.
is hubby's name.
Very confusing. My maiden name is Brian, Bryan. I married someone whose name is Bryant with a T. It's very confusing.
This way you never forget.
Never forget his name.
So Bryant, what was it like with him? Because he had to up and leave a job, right?
Yeah. Well,
Or not?
not really. So
Okay.
he, that was a cornerstone of our decision, though, was he had to go to his, supervisors, his bosses, and say, "Hey, my wife has this opportunity. What do you think about me going full-time remote?"
Oh, wow.
And in Texas, like at the time, he's in oil and gas. It's a very, like, I would say, like old school, more traditional vibe
Absolutely.
where they have brick and mortars. They go in, like working from home wasn't really a thing in our entire relationship. Like even throughout COVID, he was back in the office May of 2020.
Wow.
Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
He's like, "I'm back." I'm like, "Okay, do your thing." I loved being at home in my sweatpants, so that's fine. But so once we got the green light on that, then we started having real conversations because that was kind of a non-starter. Like if he was not going to be able to move, then both of us were finding new jobs, and that sounded terrible to me.
Scary.
Very scary. So at least we would have some stability with his job. So once we got the green light on that, we were like, all right, are we going to do this? And I mean, not to brag on my husband, but he's a fantastic human being.
Aw.
And he literally took me to like our favorite restaurant in Dallas, sat me down. I was actually between two jobs. I had gotten a job offer to stay in Dallas, actually. And so he took me to our favorite restaurant and we laid out all the pros and cons of both jobs.
That's so
And he was like, "You want the JM job?" And I was like, "Yeah, but we have to move." And he was like, "So we're moving."
You made the right
I
choice.
Yeah.
love that, Molly. Well, and
we
he
love
did,
that you
right?
made that choice.
We do.
Oh,
We love
God.
it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I say it every day. Our company name JM Family is just that. It really is family. And our department over the years has grown so much. But the ladies that we have in the department now, it's amazing. It's just a breath of fresh air. We can lean on each other. None of us really, I mean, and we do. There are some serious conversations we have. And in HR, if you're listening, please tune out at this moment because
Turn it off.
I think turn it off. Yeah. Because I think if you walk past our area, and I think that's probably why they put us in the corner where we're at in our building. Because if you walk past, there's some conversations we have that probably really are not appropriate to I mean, we never do that. They're all appropriate.
They're
Anyway,
all
let's
appropriate.
let's
We're bonding.
we are bonding, all right. All right. Megan, I want to talk to you a little bit about your children. So I think you had your youngest with you. Your oldest wasn't yet there. What was it like with her and having her adjust to the new environment with the school, with friends? I mean, even though she's young,
With Jeannie?
Jeannie was here or
No,
Stella?
Stella was here.
Correct.
So she wasn't even in
School yet.
anything. She was 2.5.
Okay.
So she was at home with my mom,
Okay.
and they just like did their own thing. And she's Stella. Her name says it all, okay?
We call her Stella Nader.
Yes, she is just this, especially before she started hitting puberty. She's just this like little ball of like social energy and excitement, and she'll talk to anybody, and she's so happy. Like she was just having a blast.
She was fine.
She was totally fine.
What about with Jeannie? When Jeannie came down, what was that like? Because she was how old again?
She was 6.
Okay.
She would have just turned 6 right after I moved.
Okay.
My start date was the 26th, and she turned 6 the 29th.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, and again, she was still, relatively young.
Okay. So it wasn't huge amount
It
of
wasn't
stress
huge.
on them.
And we had Michaela.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And we had just gotten Michaela. Michaela is my ex-husband's daughter from a previous marriage. And we had just gotten full custody of her. So she was already in a transitionary period.
Sure.
So it kind of just, it's good that it happened back to back because she really didn't have a chance to establish much
Excellent.
with us prior to the move. So it was just kind of like, she was already going through a whirlwind, but she, considering everything she had been through, she did great. She did have some things to work through,
Right.
but those were honestly completely separate from the move.
Okay. Okay. Sierra, lifestyle adjustments. So you said you were in Michigan for 10 years. Before Michigan, you were in Florida, correct?
Yep.
Okay, where were you in Florida again?
In the Orlando area.
Okay, Orlando area. So you had established friends, you had everybody up in that area. You moved to Michigan. Where were you in Michigan again?
In Grand Rapids, so that's on the west side of Michigan.
Okay. And I know this. I just wanted you guys to hear where she's from. I grew up in Michigan and I know exactly where Sierra's from.
Michiganders.
Michiganders. Go green and white. We bleed green and white. Although just going off the rail for a minute, my daughter decided to apply for University of Michigan and I told her I would cut her off. If she bleeds blue and white, she's going to bleed red too. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt my child or anything, but yeah, that's just a no-go. Anyway, Sierra, lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
So you were in Michigan. You obviously built relationships, friendships, everything. When you shared with your friends how did you share with your friends about leaving? What was that like? And then coming here to Florida, what has it been like?
It was very hard to leave my friends in Michigan. But they were aware like the entire interview process and super supportive. But sad. I miss them. I would see them a lot. So, and friendships where you can be your genuine self are rare. So I had those in Michigan. So definitely hard to leave. But also exciting for the opportunity to make new friendships, and meet new people. And I think that's key, is looking at it as an opportunity to meet new people,
Right.
see a different perspective. West Michigan is very different than
Oh,
South
God.
Florida.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
Wow. It's dark night and day.
Yep. Night and day and weather.
Yes.
But I'm enjoying
Yeah. How
the
does your
sunny-
hair look so good with the humidity every time you walk into work? Have you guys ever seen her hair?
So
right?
true.
No.
No.
No, there's
Never
no
seen it that way.
humidity. There's no frizz like there isn't mine.
She's also
I just
in her
went to
20s.
Literally, I just
True.
went and got my hair done yesterday, and she's like, "Your hair is really frizzy," and I'm like, "I know."
That was frizzy.
But I also was like, "I can't believe you just said that to me."
Yeah.
Rude? Question mark? Like,
Okay.
Um,
I love our hairdressers, but they are real
Ruthless.
real with you. And I don't know
Yeah.
what other word to use, but yeah, my hair is thinning and she's like, well, it's the product you use and it's thinning. It's going to go. And I'm like,
I think age has a lot to do with it. Not to
good point.
bring that up, but I remember because Birmingham, Alabama, the South, it gets humid there. Like I am no stranger to humidity, but I never had any issues with like my hair being frizzy until like,
okay, I have
6
never
or 7
seen your
years
hair
ago.
frizzy.
her hair always looks good.
oh, she's
Yeah,
so sweet.
your hair literally always looks good.
Oh my God, all of you. It's the long, thick hair that every one of you
Same with-
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you, enjoy your 20s,
Okay.
enjoy your 30s, enjoy your 40s, because welcome to freaking 50s.
You look great at 50 stuff.
Yeah, I might look good at fit. Well, I do, and I'm okay
Thank
with
you.
that.
Accept
I
the
do.
compliment.
Except my hair. Except
your
my hair.
hair
And
is
I'm okay
great.
with that. Yeah, because I'm finally learning how to curl it. Thanks to you, Molly, honestly,
God.
when you were giving me advice on how to curl my hair,
Yeah.
and now I'm finally learning how to use my curling iron.
Girl, I
and-
got you.
Yeah, but it crapped out yesterday, and I have to get a new one. But I just
Secret
let Carlos
Santa.
know.
Yeah, Secret
Yeah.
Santa.
Oh, secrets. No, that's like, I'm very expensive taste, and yeah, I just
stuff.
am. I'm okay with it though.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I think I was going to touch on like Megan and I moved from basically the South. I know Texas it's essentially its own entity. Texas is very like Texas branded. Do you know what I mean? And it is a stark drop when you come into South Florida.
It is not the South.
No.
It is
Oh,
like
God,
a
no.
but you don't really like you hear that, but I don't even know if I really heard that much. Like
That's more South
I,
Carolina that you would hear that, no?
growing up in Birmingham, we went to Panama City Beach in
Sure.
Florida. That was like our beach destination, Destin.
PCB.
The West
Getting lit on
Coast.
PCB.
But like you hit below a certain level, like south of Orlando on the East Coast, and it's like
That's
a
New
whole
York.
nother world.
It's New York.
No,
There's
well,
there's
kind
a
of.
lot of
It's New York, Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant. Like they're all the same to me. I have family from all. They're all the same. They're
the
up from
Northeast.
there. It's the
It's
Northeast.
definitely the Northeast.
It's the Northeast, but
Yeah.
there's also the Hispanic influence, and it's very multicultural, but it's also very like just very busy and very driven. I don't know. I can't even just say busy. I don't even know how to really explain it, but it's just a whole nother world.
Was it a shock? Culture shock,
Well,
Yeah.
would you say?
you got to think like I came into a culture bubble. I didn't know anybody. And I remember like when I first moved down here and I still had my Alabama driver's license and I was 29 years old. If I got carded and they saw my Alabama license, they were like, like all the time, instantly, they'd be like, "Oh, how do you like it here?"
Yes.
Really?
too?
Yes, with
And
my
I'm kidding
Texas
me.
license.
Yes. I'm like, "Oh my God, I love it. It's fantastic. The people are so great." And they're like,
Really?
"Really? You like the
Yeah.
people?"
Yeah.
And if I didn't say something about the people, they would ask me
Yes.
how I liked the people. And I didn't understand.
I find
was
it
like,
so
everything's so
interesting.
great. But I was in a company culture bubble.
Right.
I was surrounded by all these amazing people
Yeah.
at JM Family
Totally.
and treated with like all this kindness and amazingness. And like, it was so fantastic. Fast forward 8 years.
And now she knows.
I
Now you
completely
know.
understand what they were talking
You're the
about.
one on the corner telling everybody, right? You're from Alabama. Let me tell you.
And that's not to say that South Florida is like terrible and like
No.
all the people are terrible, but it's definitely
It's
different.
just different.
It
Yeah.
is different, and I get why they were asked.
Right. So I was listening to another podcast of a CEO of one of our company mates on LinkedIn yesterday, and that's one of the things they were talking about is JM Family is a bubble, and they hire people that have certain cultural beliefs or understanding. The kindness is one of them, but the consideration, cooperation,
Yeah.
communication, it's the values of the company, but it's also the values instilled in their associates.
Sure.
So when you take that, you are hiring for that reason. And Sierra,
Totally.
being the newest to the team, what it took for you getting in the company. I mean, you met
Yeah.
Christina, you met Lisa, then you met all of us, and then you came in the office. I mean, it was very much we had to be sure that you fit all of us and it wasn't just one or the other, right?
Totally. It was not just, hey, what are your work skills? Like, we're event planner, so it wasn't all about how many events have you planned and how big were they. It was really like, does my personality fit in with the team, and like, do I align with the culture?
Right.
Because it really is a bubble. Everyone is so nice. Like, I'm still blown away. Like, when I walk in the door, everyone's like, "Good morning, good morning, good morning." I'm like, I haven't had my coffee yet. Like,
Like, hi, good morning.
But
So we have one associate that and I won't say the name of this particular supervisor that turned manager. She is the
fired.
bomb. Yeah, she's the bomb diggity. And I want her to listen to this because she'll be the first to tell you this is true. You just did not talk to her first thing in the morning. When she, for a lot younger, 20 plus years ago, we just wouldn't. We would be like, "Hey, good morning." And we're all bubbly. And she's like, like, right, Megan? You
Even
remember that?
when I started, I remember being told, "Don't talk to me before I've had my
I
coffee."
think someone told
But
me that
now
when I was
she
interviewing.
is so bubbly
She's
now.
better. She's like, you can totally approach her. She may not like it, but you won't know it.
Yeah.
Well, but Sierra, you sit right next to her, and she
Yeah.
is bubbly, right? She's
Oh, yeah.
she blows me away.
But I think
hilarious.
that's just because I'm
Talk to
8
her?
weeks in.
No, You're
You're like,
it is
she
her
has
now.
to talk to
She
me.
has to answer my questions at 8 a.m. in
She
the
really
morning.
doesn't. No, trust me, she really doesn't. She's chosen to.
I've been told,
I'm kidding.
no,
Lisa's
not right now.
amazing.
Come
Yes.
back to me. Not by
Yeah.
her, but by other people.
Yeah, it's
like,
like-
Start morning people, you know?
Yeah, like you see the time. You see the time. No, this isn't. No. You need to come back
This
when
is
I.
not kosher.
Yeah, this isn't good. This isn't good.
no, she's changed a lot.
Yeah,
She's
she
very
has.
more.
Everyone there
We're
is
blessed.
just so kind, though. You're right. And like, I think the biggest difference going back to where we all came from because it's the South, it's the kind Midwest, it's Texas. I knew my neighbors
Right.
well. I went into their houses. We had parties together. I do not know who I live next to right now,
Right. Which is scary.
which is it's scary, but it's just like everyone is living their own lives, I guess. You know what I mean? I felt more in community in Texas, and I'm new. I'm not 8 weeks
Oh, right.
new, but I'm still kind of searching to find those friends outside of work
Right.
to build that community. And I think it takes time and it's hard, and you just have to keep putting yourself out there.
Right. So let's go into, and this is for any of you to answer the question. What are some ways that helped you to make your move? So we know moving isn't just about, oh, I'm going to move, and then miraculously blink your eyes or whatever the genie does and everything's gone. Moving companies, there's apps out there. Do any of you have resources that you can give to the audience if they're looking to move that may help them or guide them as to what apps may work better than others to find?
I relied heavily on reviews,
Okay.
but it didn't quite serve me very well. But I don't
Same.
I don't chop that up to the company actually.
Right.
I chop it up to the individuals that were selected to do my move.
Yeah.
Um,
Sadly.
because I have solid wood furniture, okay? And it's South Florida. It was really hot, and my air conditioner had broken, and they weren't feeling it. They didn't want to do it, and it had to be done. And he was like, "We're not moving this." And the funny thing is like he was like the main guy, and he was speaking with me, and the other two gentlemen did not speak English, but they were doing all of the literal heavy lifting, all
Yeah.
of the work. And he was like, "We're not doing your move." And I like freaked out. And he was like, let me call my manager and they can explain it to you. Next thing I know, he's coming up to me and is like, "We're going to finish the move."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm
Jerk.
pretty sure your boss just told you you're getting paid. It's like I can't help that my air conditioner decided to crap out like right before you guys got here. I'm
Right.
sorry."
Right. Kind of helped you to make that decision real quick too, didn't it? To bye.
But separate note, that was a separate move.
Okay.
That was
okay,
not.
gotcha.
That was the move to the new place you're in now. Yeah.
Yes.
That was a move literally right around the corner.
Oh,
in
Florida.
I have the same street name.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, but
Okay.
still a moving experience. But
Right.
it's the one that's kind of like burned in my brain.
Right.
Totally.
If anyone has an app that has everything in one place, I will be an investor. I will do anything for that. Okay? Because there is
gosh.
no tool.
Oh, God. That's Molly. Share your
IP
experience.
right now. This is an IP. No one take my idea. Okay? I had the worst movie experience ever.
I love it.
My
Not that experience. Sorry. I
Thank
don't mean
you,
that.
thank
Just
you.
how you handled that. Sorry. That came out
I
wrong.
had my house, my 3-bedroom house, picked up, and I was told and quoted a certain price. Little did I know they were subcontracting out my move. So I went with a national company. They subcontracted out to someplace in Texas. So the movers come, they say, "Oh, your quote's wrong. It's actually going to be $2,000 more than what you were quoted." And I was like, sweet. This is so cool. I have no choice at that point, right? Like they're there. They're loading your stuff.
Yeah. Of course, that's what they do. They
course.
make sure that they've already got some things loaded in, and
Yes.
you're stuck with them so that they
Yes.
could do this.
So, and of course,
Same.
then like you're also signing an iPad. You're not like reading paperwork, and they're like, you need to sign this. And I'm like flustered. And my husband, this is not a knock on him, but he was at work. I did not have a job at the time. So I was the one handling all of the logistics. They picked up the stuff, got it in there. I paid $2,000 more, and they said, "It'll be delivered in 4 days." Great. Because we are literally leaving the next day and driving to Florida. So that's perfect. We'll be there. And we knew like we might have 1 or 2 days on an air mattress and then our stuff would be delivered. 23 days later.
Oh my
23
God.
days.
3 weeks.
Crazy.
3 weeks.
3
over.
weeks of my life. As mentioned, I am not 27. So my back was broken. Sleeping on an air mattress with my husband, who is 6'4", and my dog, who weighed 75 pounds.
Oh my God.
So it was just the worst experience. I do not wish that on my literal worst enemy. I don't wish it on anyone. I would call the company to try to get an update. Oh, pro tip, put an air tag in your boxes if you are using a moving company.
That's really smart.
I put an air tag in my like China box that I had packed up. And so I could check the air tag and knew that our stuff was sitting in a warehouse in Dallas for the 3 weeks it was
How
there.
was that allowed to happen, though? What was the story behind that?
So there are people who are much smarter than me, lawyers, who,
Some are, some aren't.
yes,
but
true.
okay.
But I went and I talked to a few people, and this is a national problem. Essentially what they do is they, in the very small fine print, say that any estimate we give you of days it'll take is non-binding. You can't come for us if it doesn't. And actually, we have 41 days to deliver your goods and service. Like, we have 41 days legally.
Oh, my God.
But, essentially, that's taking advantage of people.
Of course.
And actually, Florida, the great state of Florida, just passed a law where that's no longer legal in the state of Florida.
Interesting. So, Sierra,
Yes.
let's go to you
Golf
then.
clap.
That's true. Let's clap.
Golf clap.
Sierra, that goes to you then, because I think you got your stuff right away. Did you come right when the law
I
passed?
did. I wish. I didn't have a lot of stuff, so I actually used I think it's U-Pods, U-Haul pods. Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
the correct word for it? Which was amazing. Like, I so highly recommend it. They picked my stuff up, dropped it off. It was great. But I think the best advice I could give is talk to the people who live in the area. Because they'll give you like such good resources. Like, for instance, I needed like a bed frame built, and Lisa, like our manager, gave me a number of someone to build a bed frame for me.
Amazing.
And like build new furniture. And yeah, I just think you can't underestimate talking to the people who live there to give you
Right.
resources. Another good resource is TaskRabbit. They'll come like,
What is that?
Oh my gosh, Tracy, this is going to change your
this
life.
will change your
Really?
life.
Task
What is
Rabbit.
Rabbit?
Wait, Megan, you guys.
Share.
Okay, it's like an app that you can literally go on and like, I don't know how to assemble this piece of furniture, and you just put it in there and someone will come to your house and assemble the piece of furniture
No
for
way.
a small minimal fee.
And even like hanging.
Oh, I have
like,
Bobby for that.
wall, like
Yes.
hanging wall art, or like fixing things or painting, anything.
Okay, let's
And
see.
it's amazing.
I'm not letting Carlos watch this episode because I'm like you, Megan. I have Carlos, and he's so amazing, and my dad is amazing, and they do this stuff for me. So
As soon as I said it, I was like,
we'll just tell him we've got roughly the last 10 to 15 minutes. We don't want him to listen to.
just
We'll
don't,
cut it out.
just
Go,
don't tag me, okay?
Yeah, exactly. I won't tag you. Maybe. Yes, I will. Wow. Okay, so TaskRabbit is
Yeah,
something.
that was good.
And your advice was also to make sure to talk to people that are local, ask them questions, who they would recommend.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have one more thing.
Yes.
If you are chatting with like moving companies nationally or even locally, highly recommend getting them to actually come to your house and look with their eyeballs
Estimate.
at the amount of stuff that you have. Because a lot of companies will do like a virtual estimate. And that's what happened to me. Basically, the virtual estimate I got was like someone marked down a small dresser. In reality, it was a 6-piece dresser. So now it has to actually go in the large category, which
They're
is,
never right.
yes.
Okay.
So get them to come to your house, walk in and show them every single thing that you want moved.
Great advice. So then getting an estimate, making sure that they sign off on the estimate so you have a more accurate. A more accurate.
Oh my gosh, one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah,
All
no,
these
no, no.
things are
This-
coming to me.
This is what I want right now, and that's
Yes.
where we are in the segment. I wanted to ask you guys what's some advice you can give to our listeners to be able to. Go ahead.
This did not happen to me well, it did, and I didn't follow what I should have done. But a friend of mine who actually did a move, and I was lamenting about how bad the move was. And what happened when our stuff did come is they claimed that the tractor trailer that they had brought it in was too big to fit into the apartment complex,
What?
which I had already cleared with the apartment complex because, again, planners.
Yeah.
So I'm like crossing my T's, dotting my I's. They said that it won't fit. And at that point, what I should have done is I should have called the police,
BS. Yeah.
which sounds very like Karen-ish, and that's not who I am.
It's not.
But it's basically a he said, she said at that point. and I had to pay an additional $1,500
So they held it captive.
because they held my stuff captive.
What are you doing about them, by the way? Did you report them or like
I did
Better
report them to the
Business?
Better Business
Okay, good.
Bureau.
And?
Am I a Karen? Like, I think
No,
I'm
you're not.
finding out. I'm a Karen.
No, you know what? You're not, because what you're doing is you're letting everybody know that this particular company, and feel free to share the name, because sorry, Charlie, if you're going to behave that way, you deserve to be called out. What's the name of the company so we can make sure our listeners don't hire them, if
And
you
like,
remember?
now I can't even remember because I have trauma. So it's blocked.
If you do,
I
make
will-
sure you put it on.
I will.
Yes, I would write that down.
But I was sharing with this friend of mine, and she was like, "Oh, that happened to me in Atlanta," and I called the police, and guess what happened? They delivered my stuff because even the threat of basically what they're doing is legal, essentially. And so if you threaten to get law enforcement involved, 9 times out of 10, they're going to fold and say, "Well, we'll figure it out," because they don't want anyone.
They don't want that.
They don't want anyone being involved in that kind of stuff with them. So
Jeez. All right.
That's crazy.
Megan, do you have any advice that you want to give the listeners if they're looking to move, or anybody else? Our last advice here.
I mean, I think everything that's been mentioned so far is has been, really great. Definitely touch base with your local contacts and the people that, obviously if you're moving for a job, your local contacts mostly are probably going to be people that you're about to work with, but getting their insight and their opinions, and also speaking with them about where you want to move and areas, because that will help you, because there's, especially in larger cities, there's so many different areas that you can move to.
Right.
And if you have kids, obviously school systems are a huge deal. You don't want to move somewhere where it's not a good school system. But if you don't have kids, you want to know where all the fun is,
Right.
where the things are
Yeah.
to do, and the safe areas. So, speaking to anyone that you can to get insight about the area, not just doing internet research.
Right. And I would say probably, and I haven't moved a long time, but just listening to you, I would say check your local police department in the surrounding area that you are living in. I can't
Totally.
imagine that they wouldn't be willing to give you some thoughts, or even your fire department wouldn't be willing to give you some ideas. In your cases, I think it was great that you guys did not move in right away to a place. If you can, moving in with family or moving into, the company offers you, I think it's great to be able to take a little bit of time to have that research and do that. Ladies, I can't thank you enough. We are running out of time. I can't believe it's so quick already.
Flash.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Each one of you, I commend you. I am so grateful for you. It's been a whirlwind at the company, and I just think these past 8 years, 8 years has been incredible. Each one that comes in teaches so much to everybody else, but I think we are considered a tight-knit family. And I love that you were able to share this moment with me on this podcast, and really to help the listeners out, because there may be somebody considering whether or not they should move today, and they don't know whether they should make the move. And it sounds like to me, yeah, there's going to be struggles. There's always going to be struggles with anything in life, right? But taking the risk, taking the chance. And when you do, not only do you benefit, but those of us that are here benefit as well. So,
Jump,
yeah,
jump.
there we go.
Don't
Jump.
be afraid,
One
jump.
word. So jump is your
Jump.
word. Sierra, your word. One word to
Still
describe.
yours.
Yep. Go.
I don't know. I'm not good on the spot.
All right.
Jump.
Jump. Oh, jump. That sounds familiar. Megan, one word.
Mine's not one word. Leap of faith.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
That's
leap
good.
of faith. You got
There we
It's
go.
good. It's good.
There you go.
got it.
So I
Write
got
it
it.
out.
All right. Well, I found this really cool quote that I wanted to share with you guys and our audience. And it just says, "The only way to make the impossible possible is to believe it's possible and take the first step." This author is unknown, but I love that, right?
Yeah,
It
it's really good.
resonates. Yeah, I love quotes. Oh my gosh, they're my favorite. Snap. Oh yeah. Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, thank you guys again. I look forward to welcoming you back on the podcast. Sierra, we talked about you being a natural, but I think we also have Molly and Megan that are natural as well. So we'll bring each other back. And next time it's going to be over maybe tequila, a few shots, what our favorite bars are, help you out, Sierra, maybe the favorite restaurants, whatever. We'll just go ahead and do that. So,
It'll be Sierra's version of The Bachelorette.
oh, Sierra's version. Oh my God, that would be great. Okay, we could totally do that. I think I've got some
The
hot
Boca
friends.
Bachelorette.
Yeah, but it has to be younger. I'll find the younger ones. All right. Ben. All right. So thank you guys for your time today. I hope you guys, my viewers, have listened and learned a little bit on today's podcast. And feel free to reach out to me in any of the platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Facebook, and share with me what it's been like for you with your experience. Or if you want to share with any of the ladies, feel free to just type in some information and we'll get it off to them. If you have a topic that you'd like to hear in the future, or if you even want to be a guest on one of my podcasts, please go ahead and email me at throughthemirror24@gmail.com. Thank you again, ladies, for joining me, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you, my listeners, again on the next episode of Through the Mirror. Take care.